Welcome back to Central News. Now for year 11, 12 and 13 students, the fourth term is never very long, especially with exams happening straight after the holidays in most cases. So how can you prepare for your exams, and what are some study tips that are going to help you out? Well, joining me now is Karen Boys. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Thanks.
Now I know studying and exams, it's a scary time for students. The pressure is really on. Is studying a good thing? Is this pressure a good thing?
Well, pressure always gets you to do it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that that's quite good. You know, it's easier to study this term than first term. It's like it seems a long, long way away. But study is very important because that's what they need to learn. They need to learn the information so they can pass the exam. So it's important that students really knuckle down at this time of year.
Yeah, and when you said that, you said students need to learn. Studying is learning new information. It's not just going over the stuff that you already know.
Correct. The most important study tip we ever teach is learn what you don't know. Many students study what they already know because it makes them feel good. Just like list writers, people who write lists will often go and cross something off the list and it's not there, so they write it on the list to cross it off. There's no logical reason to do that, but the only reason they do it is because it makes them feel good.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I do that.
And
students
good. Also study the things they know because it makes them feel good. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. Oh, I got that right. But that's not learning. Yeah. Learning is learning what you don't know.
Are you surprised about how much students don't study or don't know about studying, right?
Many students don't even know the difference between what homework and study is. Homework is information assignments set by your teacher that are assigned to be given in at a certain time, whereas study is learning what you don't know in preparation for an exam.
Yeah. Tips for studying. Students tend to not want to study, or they do want to study?
Many of them want to study, they just don't know how and what to do.
I mean, is there a certain time frame that you should study for, like maybe 3-4 hours after school each day? Or?
Well, it just depends on how much you've got to study and how much you don't know. So one of the ideas is to like mind map your notes or come up with an idea of what you need to learn and then find out what you don't know from that.
Because like this, you've brought in this mind map.
Yes.
Why are these good?
Well, that gives you an overview picture. That's one whole topic from a science curriculum. And so it's got all the information there. Students can see an entire topic and then they can go, I know this bit, but I don't know this bit. So they can see which bits they need to learn and which bits they don't. So that makes it quicker and easier.
And I think it's also because they can see straight out what they don't know.
Correct.
Rather than just not knowing it all.
Yes, yeah. Well, first and foremost, an exam is a memory test. They're testing your memory. Do you remember the information? And then secondly, can you apply it to answer a question?
Yeah. Yes.
So the mind map sort of helps with that because it gives you the overview of all the information.
How important is it to sort of revise what you've learned that day?
One of our study tips is to go over your notes within 24 hours. So what we suggest to students, in fact, throughout the year, is to, at the end of the day, in a 20-minute segment maybe after school in the evening, is to summarise their notes from that day. So if they've had 5 subjects, take 5 small cards or 5 notebooks and on one page just summarise the key points. We often take far too many notes in a class and it's finding what was the key point in the summary that helps them when they get to study at this time of year.
I mean, that way they're doing this throughout the year, so when they come to this time of the year, they've got everything summarised.
Correct, so it makes it a lot easier to learn the information.
So this is something that maybe Year 9 students should be looking at doing.
Absolutely, Year 9 and 10 should be starting to practice these ideas so that when they get to 11, 12, 13, they already know what to do and they feel confident about their study habits.
Yeah. So when students are getting to this time of the year, they're actually sitting down at night time to do study. Should they sit there non-stop? Or should they break it up?
The best study tip that we've ever come across, and the research shows they should study for about 20 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, which is, and then take another 20 minutes, another 5-minute break. 20 minutes is quite a long time to take in a lot of information, and at the end of that 20 minutes we suggest they spend a couple of minutes revising what they've learned, so they just know I've just done this, this, this and this, and then take that 5-minute break.
And that 5-minute break is get out of the room, do not think about anything that you've just taken a look at. Is that
correct?
Right? Yeah.
It is. Actually, leaving the room is really important because then the brain knows you're getting a break. And it's also important for them to have some water, maybe get some fresh air, maybe a quick little bit of exercise in that 5 minutes, just to do something different.
Yeah.
In fact, we've designed a study alarm just for that.
I think this is really cool. I mean, this is on your iPhone, but you've designed it for iPods for students.
Yeah, the iPod Touch, and it also works on an iPad. So it's a 20-minute alarm, so it times them for the 20 minutes, it tells them to do a 2-minute revise, it tells them to take that 5-minute break. So it times it so they don't go over time.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. So it tells them to do that 2-minute revise of what they've just studied.
Yes.
And did students need this?
Many of them do, because they get distracted very easily. And many of them really discover if something's timing them for 20 minutes, they can do 20 minutes. But sitting down to think I have to do 3 hours is too big.
Yeah. And even just to look at the clock, right, I've got 20 minutes, so okay, you need something like this to actually keep you on track and keep you focused.
Yes, it's a lot easier, because if you keep looking at the clock, you're distracted again, so you're just waiting for the alarm to go off on this one.
Yes. Now, Karen, I know you've done this 27 study tips for success. Are you handing these out to schools? Or?
Schools actually do purchase them. They're available on our website, spectrumeducation.com. Yes.
So, and this has got 27 different tips that you can do, reading keywords, reviewing, revise the most important information last.
That's your revising. Go back over what you've already done to make sure. Your brain remembers firsts and lasts. You remember the first part of the movie and the end part of the movie, first part of a book, end part of a book. So in our study we want to do the most important bits of information at the beginning and at the end.
Yeah, so that way it's going to stick in there.
Yes, because that's the 2 times the brain really remembers information.
Yeah. For students who haven't got this, it's on your website. What was that website again?
spectrumeducation.com.
.com. They can pick up one of these. Fantastic. Are you pretty confident about students this year passing?
Well, if they've done the study, yes. And if they're studying what they don't know, then that's the most important part.
That's going to be problems.
Yes.
But I'm sure heaps of students will be ready for next year.
I hope
hopefully.
so.
Karen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Karen Boyce there, taking a look at study tips for exams, and if you do want this one, make sure you jump on the website spectrumeducation.com. Right, coming up after the break, it is the World Rowing Championships, and we've got a New Zealand rower profile after the break.